Okay, well, welcome to the Seneca County IDA. We have a joint IDA, EDC, and Seneca County Funding Corp audit committee meetings. The first one is for the IDA. Kelly, if you can do a roll call so everyone knows who's on this particular committee.
Mr. Brusso?
Present.
Mr. Kine?
Here.
And those are the two members.
Yeah,
on the
we're here.
committee.
A two-person committee.
All of us, huh?
Yeah, it makes it tough when there's a disagreement to break the tie, but. So first item on the agenda is the approval of the audit. Good start today. Approval of the audit committee meeting minutes for March 17th of 2021. Everyone received a copy. Any comments or questions or corrections? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
So make a motion to approve so.
And I guess I'll second. Kelly, roll.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Mr. Kine?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Second item is the review of the engagement letter for the 2021 audit. Sarah?
Thanks, Steve. So we received a new engagement letter for the new year from Mengel, Metzger & Barr. They're the ones that have been doing our auditing for us for many years now. We will need to be changing lead auditor with the firm, as we're required to do that every 5 years. Their quote for the IDA audit was $10,800, and then for the single audit on our revolving loan fund, that quote was $1,825. We did receive a response from another auditing firm, Bonadeo Group. They gave us an estimate of $11,500 for the IDA audit and $3,500 for the single audit. So we are recommending to stay with Mengel, Metzger & Barr for 2022.
If that's
I
appropriate.
would make the motion that we do that.
Okay. I'll second it. Kelly?
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Mr. Kine?
Yes.
Motion carried.
The next item is review and recommendation of the proposed 2022 IDA budget to the board, which I think if everyone will note that earlier this month we made a couple changes, proposed changes to the chart of the account. So the budget format looks a little different than it has in the past, but essentially it's just the same items, just slightly rearranged. So Sarah, if you could review this for us.
Sure. So you will notice on this budget a fairly large estimate for agency fees for 2022, about $1.4 million. That is in large part due to the Trilina Solar project, which we have received an initial project application for and anticipate closing on that project early in the new year. And then additionally, we have two other projects that we anticipate closing on in the new year, Best Made Products and Wilkins RV. Aside from that, we've budgeted for our annual Seneca County support, and that letter of request has been sent to the county for their formal consideration. We have our annual rent and lease income of $100,000, which is our annual payment from Del Lago. We have RLF income, which is largely the interest that we receive on loan payments, IDA interest income, and then property sales as we anticipate closing on the sale of the 2 lots at Deer Run, probably early in the new year for $37,000. So our operating revenues right now are estimated to be about $1.6 million for 2022. Moving on to operating expenses, you will notice there is a slight increase in payroll from our 2021 budget to our 2022 budget. We have accounted for a new hire in 2022 with an estimated annual salary of about $60,000. We would anticipate going out to hire that person around April or May. So that is accounted for accordingly. Benefits are adjusted, of course, to reflect that new hire. Professional fees and services, right about the same as they always are, a little bit less than our 2021 budget. General office, again, that's about the same as always at about 13,000. Administrative and technical has increased a bit, mostly because we have reassigned and updating our chart of accounts, we've reassigned some items to dues and subscriptions that were previously categorized as something else. Insurance, we have made the adjustment because we were under budgeting in the past. And so we looked at what our actuals are for 2021 and made the appropriate update for 2022 to about 7,000 for the agency. Our miscellaneous is again about the same as what it usually is at 2,000. Travel and conferences, we've reduced our budget. Obviously, in light of COVID, we're not doing as much travel. It's more virtual conferences and things. So that's reflected there. Repairs and maintenance, that 3,500 is mostly for the ongoing mowing and upkeep at Deer Run Industrial Park. Marketing and promotion. And then RLF expense, we don't have any budgeted as we anticipate passing through most of the underwriting costs and legal fees to the companies for a reduction in their loan amount. So our total operating expenses are estimated about $504,000, giving us net operating income of $1.16 million. Other income, we have our grant from Empire State Development, which is what the governmental grants category is. That's about 110. And we anticipate using the remainder of that on this engineering firm that we're looking to recruit to do the feasibility study at the industrial park. And then we have under other expense, again, that same grant going out. No other expenses this time. So our total net income for the year is projected to be, again, that $1.16 million.
Comparing that to previous time frames, that's a very remarkable number.
Yes, yes. And largely due to the agency fees and the projects that we have seen,
Exactly.
which we've had tremendous success with at the latter part of this year.
Yes. So, Tom, any thoughts or comments on the budget?
Tom, are you still with us?
Yeah, I am. Truthfully, having gone for a week here, and I got in just barely today in time to make this call, to get to a meeting, then get to this call. I'm looking like crazy trying to find information that I've been sent on this, and the only thing that I can find, truthfully, the last thing I got is I think it's from you, Sarah, actually, is on proposed cost benefit template. Kelly, I've been looking for stuff from you. I had Jenna look for stuff from you, and I'm struggling trying to find any of it.
Okay,
So
We'll have Kelly resend that to you right now so you can look at it.
yeah, I've looked under Kelly. Is she the one that normally that's who it would have come out under?
She is. It was sent.
It was quite a large attachment. Could that be why? But I didn't get
It was a large attachment. It was sent about a week ago.
Right.
I think it was Friday morning or.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
problem. I might not find that, but it'd be unusual that Jenna wouldn't find it. Was Jenna copied in on that?
yes.
She's not finding it either.
Okay, it might have been too big because it was too big for Bob, and I had to
It was
resend it to Bob.
about 60 pages in length, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was
significant.
long. Okay. Well, Kelly will try to resend it to you. We'll figure out a workaround if we need to for the file size, if that's the issue.
Okay.
Do you, any immediate questions based on what I talked about come to mind, Tom, or things you want me to go over again?
No, not from what you said. I don't. just a little bit difficult without having the budget here in front of me. And I apologize, but again, I've been gone, and I looked really quickly on my way in. When I got here before I went to the meeting, then I told Jenna to try to find it because I couldn't find it. And I came out and I asked her, and she said she can't find it. So I've been trying to dig through it since. So as we're talking,
We did meet last week and went over the budget, proposed budget in detail, line by line.
Yeah, as a staff.
Right,
With-
yep.
I just sent him the file, I didn't send him the whole packet.
Okay,
So
she
on the
just sent
budget.
you the budget file, so that should come through, because that's a much smaller file size.
yep, that just popped up. If there's some way to send me other things that we're going to be going over, that would be good. I do have your cost benefit analysis, but that's the only item. That was
That was it. So I just sent you the EDC budget too. The only other things on the agenda was the engagement letter and the minutes.
Right.
okay. I received that now.
The one thing I will point out, I had mentioned, so the dues and subscriptions, that we have about a $5,000 increase from 2021 to 2022. That money was moved from marketing and promotion, so that had about a $5,000 decrease, and that's because we were previously classifying our membership to Greater Rochester Enterprise as marketing and promotion, but because that's an annual membership due, we felt it was better to reclassify. So that's where there was one sort of fluctuation within the individual line items.
Right.
Okay. Now, one question I did have from our last meeting is on these fees that we're charging for the projects and our IDA fees.
Mm-hmm.
That we have a discussion as to what that level is, and that wasn't at the last meeting. So obviously a big dollar amount in here, but I don't know what that was relative to then.
So I can give you the breakdown. Are you looking for what we're expecting this year in 2021, or what we've projected for 2022?
Yeah, I have 2022, and I have your gross dollars.
Yes.
But usually we have that we're going to charge them.
There's a
second
second sheet in there that shows it, but I'm happy to talk about it too. So if you click at the bottom of your Excel sheet, you should see a second tab. But the breakdown for 2022, so like I mentioned, the total was about 1.45 million in agency fees. We're anticipating 46,200 from Best Made Products. That's for their pilot application. Obviously, that does not include the property sale of Deer Run, which is listed separately. We have 1.282 million coming from Trelina Solar, and then 90,000 from Wilkins RV. And those, again, are standard. They're 1% of the total capital cost of the project as identified in their IDA applications.
Okay. All right. That was it. Really, the 1% was my question as to what we were charging on each of these, if they're all the same then.
Yes.
Yep, all the same.
Standard fee. Okay. All right. Yeah, I've got your pages and I've got the dollar amounts here. Great. So if we go to here. So if we consider, and Bob, I guess you'd be able to give me that answer. If we consider what we're really bringing in these types of fees, which are higher, obviously, than the type of revenue we've had in the past,
Right.
and we still get done, we're showing $1.1 million profit. I guess my question would be how much money would we have lost without, a couple of, say the one big one here. I'm trying to decide if we're doing better or worse than last year. We're obviously doing good that we have these projects now. But if you subtract out some $1.2 million from one of the big,
21 forecast number is, bottom line is 257,000.
you said minus 257?
No, it's
Well-
a plus 257.
Well,
Plus-
the
Yeah.
2021 budget was minus 52.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so if you take out the, Trelina, then you're looking at probably somewhat similar,
Mhm.
21 and 22
on that
Budget, yes.
for the budget.
Because obviously, our 2021 budget versus our 2021 forecasts are fairly different.
basis. Right.
Yeah.
Our 2021 budget, we were expecting a $52,000 loss, whereas now, based on the projects that we currently have, are expecting a $257,000 profit, because we have seen, again, a large number of projects that come up at the end of the year that we didn't know about in advance to budget for. So we have this year that we're still anticipating on closing on home leasing, which was already fully approved last year. They were holding off on closing just because of timing. Keystone Mills, which, we're hoping to do final approvals in November for that one. And same with New York Lodi 1, our smaller solar project. So that, so what we budgeted for in 2022, as Steve said, if we didn't have Trelina and we just budgeted the other two projects, we'd probably be about the same net income as we had budgeted for 21. Thankfully, we do know about this project, and then we would obviously anticipate to get additional projects throughout the year that we can't budget for right now.
And in the 21 forecast, we don't have any of the land that we've agreed to sell proposed to be in the 21 numbers.
That's correct,
correct.
Because we don't actually anticipate closing on the sale until the new year, only because of the timing to line up. He submitted a loan application to us and obviously a pilot application. So we're trying to line up the timings on all of that to make the project feasible for him.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so overall, yeah, the expenses, of course, a little higher with, of course, payroll than it's been in 2020.
Right.
But other than that, overall expenses have been pretty much constant year to year.
Yep. Yeah,
It's
you made,
forecasted that the expenses for 2021 are actually less than the budget number for the same period on a forecasted basis.
Yes, so our 2021, our actual expenses are coming in on our forecast lower than what we had initially budgeted for. And it's likely that that's going to happen again in 2022, especially because it's tricky to budget for me taking family leave for 3 months of the year. So that will, bring down the payroll number. And then obviously, there are things that we don't fully end up spending, like our marketing and promotion line item doesn't necessarily get, spent out
True.
in its entirety every year. So our expenses should actually be lower than what we have put in the budget.
especially as you said, given the year and the COVID situation and everything, probably less things that you would do than normal.
Possibly.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I appreciate you going through that now that I've got it to look at. So thank you. And it's clear what you've got in here. So
Okay.
Steve, you need a
So-
motion to approve.
So, are you, ready
Hey,
to
I'm-
make a motion to approve?
I'm a motion that we approve the budget as you presented it.
Okay, I'll second. Kelly?
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Kime?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Any other business? No other business. So Tom, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, just let me ask one question.
Yeah, sure.
There even was mentioned it while I was looking for it here, relative to support from the county.
Yes.
Where is that? What line item?
County support, we have moved up to operating revenue. So that line item, it just comes under our agency fees. So that's the same request we do every year for the $54,000. And like I mentioned, we've submitted that request formally to the county. Obviously, it hasn't been approved yet as they haven't done their final budget for the year. But we don't anticipate any issues with having that approved.
Okay. And that number is in the details somewhere. It's combined into that one category. Does that show up anywhere separately in here or not?
It shows up as a standalone, so it's titled Seneca County Support, and it's one of the line items under operating revenues.
Okay. I see it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
So we're adjourned. That's what we'll do next is we'll skip to the Seneca County Funding Corporation. So Kelly, if you could do roll call for that one.
Mr. Kernan?
Here,
Mr. Brusso?
Here. So we'll start out with that. So Bob?
this point, looking at our 2022 budget, we are not anticipating any direct revenues. Our expenses in total are budgeted to be $4,825, and that includes management and general expenses, grant expenses, other expenses, and the bottom line is a negative $4,825 on a budgeted basis for the year 2022.
The, I guess one question looking at this, Bob, under legal costs, you know, actual for 2020 was 0, 2021 is 0, even though we've budgeted. So that's really just a budgeted item that most likely we wouldn't be.
That's very possible. Yep. Yep. It's put in there as a sort of a hedge, just in case.
Same thing with,
Yeah.
yeah, special fees and payments, those
And
are just
That's
somewhat of a
pretty much the same. Yep.
potentials, but
Right.
not
It could
necessarily.
happen, but necessarily may not.
Yeah, the only real guarantee is that professional fees, which is our audit
Audit fee.
for the funding court.
Right,
Yes,
which is up $25 over the previous, over our forecast for the 2021 number.
okay. So essentially, yeah, it's the same budget, same, really just a maintenance of the funding court budget,
Right.
same as the last couple of years.
I guess with that, we need a motion to approve the 2022 budget as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Kernan?
Aye.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Motion carried.
We just have the
Approval of the minutes and the
meeting
engagement
minutes.
letter.
Yeah.
So the audit committee meeting minutes, I found no changes, comments, or whatever.
Right.
So I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Kernan?
Aye.
Mr. Brusso?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, I'll jump into the engagement letter here
Yes.
for you both.
Thank you.
So again, this was in the budget, we already talked about it, but our annual estimate from Mengel, Metzger and Barr is $2,825. Again, Bonadio gave us an estimate of $3,000, so again, it was a bit higher. You know, don't see any reason that we need to change firms. Again, the engagement letter reflects that we will be changing lead auditor. But that's it.
I would move we accept the engagement letter as presented.
Yeah, I'll second.
Mr. Kernan?
Aye.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Motion carried.
I think all we need is a motion to
Agree.
adjourn.
I would so move.
I'll second. Aye.
Aye.
So we're adjourned. At this point, for the EDC Audit Committee meeting, the members are, Jeff,
You, Tom Kyman, Jeff Shipley.
So we do have
a
two.
quorum.
so we'll continue on with the EDC meeting without Jeff then. Yeah, since it's been a half an hour, I guess if he's going to be here,
He would have been there.
would have been here.
Yeah.
So first item on the EDC agenda is approval of the audit committee meeting minutes from March 17th. If there's no questions or comments, may I have a motion to approve?
The only thing I would do, and it's just to clarify, go under asset liabilities and just put a comma in there after the 236,000 versus the period is all. Other than that, yeah, I'd have a motion to approve minutes.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Kelly's just noting that.
Yep.
Okay. That's set, so that's noted. So I'll second the motion to approve the minutes with those conditions.
Could you
Noel?
repeat that again? What was the condition?
A comma instead of a period.
Oh, okay. It was a
In the
type.
minutes. Yeah,
type
just a
of-
typo, yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Kime?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Then Sarah, the EDC engagement letter.
Yes, so the EDC engagement letter, this year from Mengel, Metzger and Barr, we got an estimate for $5,155 for the audit, with an additional $875 for the cemetery, bringing the EDC total to $6,030. And then an estimate for the EDC tax returns of $1,195. Just to compare, Bonadio came back with $7,000 for the audit and $1,200 for the tax returns. So they were about $1,000 more on the audit for us. So again, have had no complaints with their performance, and we're recommending approval of the engagement letter for 2022 with Mengel, Metzger and Barr.
That number is higher than last year's,
Which number?
the audit number, I believe.
So,
It's increase of $475
Yes.
from last year.
Mhm. Yeah, just as a note.
thank you, Kelly.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yes, Jeff, just to, fill you in.
Sorry.
Actually,
Sorry, I was
not
late.
too bad with timing. We just started the EDC Audit Committee meeting. We approved the meeting minutes, and we're just looking at the engagement letter right now.
Okay.
So I guess at this point, it seems like there's no need to change auditor. We'll just keep it the same. So have a motion to approve the engagement letter.
So made.
Second,
I'll second.
Kelly?
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Kime?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Now, Sarah, if you could review the EDC budget.
Sure. So the EDC budget, you will notice one thing that is different from 2021, and this I think was just an oversight on our part last year, is that we now have the OCR pass-through grant under revenue. I think previously it was under the IDA, but that has always technically been an EDC activity. So it has been added to the EDC budget as appropriate. But again, that's a pass-through grant. So we see it on revenues and then we see it come out on expenses. So that negates out. Otherwise, yes.
Kelly, send me the budget on this as well on EDC.
I think I did. Did you not get that one?
No,
Okay.
Okay, she'll send
I
it.
that's not the budget. But go ahead, sir. I'm not trying to
No,
stop
that's
you.
okay. Kelly is gonna resend it to you.
Yeah, there's only probably about 5 items on the budget anyways.
It's pretty
It just
simple.
went, it just sent.
So you should get that in just a minute, Tom.
Okay, thank
So management in general, you will notice there's a slight, $1,000 increase from our 2021 budget to our 2022 budget. Mostly due to the professional fees. So we had budgeted the auditor for $5,675 in 2021. This year, the proposed budget is $7,225, and that number includes the audit for the EDC, the cemetery, and the completion of the tax returns
Right. Before it was separated.
before it was separated out.
Yeah.
Then we have, CFO, which hasn't changed at all, and accountant, which hasn't changed at all. Those are staying steady at $6,000 and $6,500 respectively. We do have $2,000 in there for legal costs, but you'll notice that we aren't actually anticipating to use that in 2021. So it's really more of a contingency. And again, we don't necessarily anticipate using that in 2022. We have our, under program, the only expense there is insurance, which is at $4,500, and again, holding steady. And then we have other, and you'll see that that is where the $600,000 for the pass-through grant is, along with $125 budgeted for special fees and payments and $250 for miscellaneous. So overall, our net income for 2022 is budgeted to be a $26,600 loss from the EDC.
The timing on the cemetery lease being up and when's that all take place here?
It's already been transferred, so the cemetery has been fully transferred to the county. All of the invoices have been paid out by us and been repaid to us for the burials. So we have no further activity anticipated with the cemetery. Obviously, we still have to have it audited in 2022 because of the first half of this year, but otherwise, our relationship with that is come to a close.
Okay, because I was just confirming. Thank you.
Which is why you'll see, so we did do a combined EDC and cemetery budget here at the very bottom of the page, and you'll see that 2022 shows 0 to the cemetery.
Right.
Balance sheets are all settled up relative to money that was used back and forth between the entities and
Yes, there is a small amount remaining, I believe, in the cemetery account, and we are in the process of getting that closed out and transferred back to the EDC. So you will see at some point a small update to the balance sheet, which will show, repayment. It's only about a few $1,000s. I think it's about $4,000 or something. So there will be a slight change there, but otherwise everything else has been taken care of.
yeah, what about past history then? How do we end up setting that up, showing that?
What do you mean in regards to past history?
One time, and I just don't recall what transpired. We had money that was going into there for quite a period of time, and at some point in time, whether that money came back, whether that money got written off. I just wondered how that all ended.
Yes. So that so we're going to receive. I think our total was about probably $900,000 when all was said and
That's
done that
approximately
was paid to the cemetery out of the EDC.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
where the about 4,000 will be coming back to the EDC, and the rest will be getting written off. We don't anticipate ever recouping that
No.
money.
Once it went out the door, it was spent. That's-
And that will all be accounted for in the audit. And thankfully, our audit firm is familiar with this situation, and they're anticipating us writing that off.
Yep. Now there were contributions and donations and things that none of that had passed through us, and none of that money we have any that would come from that.
No, all contributions and donations were largely turned around and spent. The only thing that did was reduce the need for us to transfer additional dollars to the cemetery.
No income that was received for the donations became a cash item on the cemetery books, but was subsequently spent to pay for expenses.
Okay.
That organization was never run at a
Yep.
profit to be able to repay anything.
Yep. The balance sheet itself, we have a P&L. The balance sheet itself, then we're gonna, I don't have the balance sheet in front of me, but we still show that as a $900,000 receivable, and we'll have a basically insolvent balance sheet at that point when we write this off.
Well, your two entities are combined as one then. The receivable is eliminated and the payable is eliminated. That's where the difference in the balance sheet on a combined basis would be.
Okay.
So there's no monies due or no monies payable. No. It's an elimination item, Tom.
But you had it as a receivable. What'd you have on the other side, Bob?
Well, it shows that a receivable on the EDC and there's a payable on the cemetery books. But when you combine the two entities, actually is one.
Right.
The receivable is eliminated and the payable is eliminated.
But who is the payable to?
Payables due to the EDC.
Yeah, the payable is from the cemetery to the
to the
EDC.
EDC.
So they'll essentially cancel each other
They
out.
cancel each other out, right?
So the EDC balance sheet will only reflect basically the current EDC assets,
Right.
plus, that 4,000 that we'll be recouping from the cemetery
In cash.
in cash.
And the audited numbers will show that as well.
So any other discussion on the EDC budget? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the budget?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Kelly?
Mr. Russo?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mr. Kine?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Any other business?
None at this time?
If not, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Yeah. Jeff made the motion, Tom seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone want to stay? No?